Alright guys, what's happening? We're doing another pack rip situation. I'm gonna open a bunch of packs that I've never opened before. But these are I guess a Conlon collection 92 edition from the Sporting News. Never done these before. I don't think I've ever seen these before. But it looked pretty cool. So, let's get into it. Let's make a video out of the deal. Alright, we're going to go with the first pack. They don't seem to be sticking together too bad. Got Herb Pinnock, Terry Moore, Bill Sherdale, Earl Averill, Fred Hoffman, the Mechanical Man. Who is the Mechanical Man? Leonard, Charles Leonard Geringer, the Mechanical Man. Chuck Klein, Buck Krause, Jim Bagby, Babe Adams, Billy Herman, Frank Grube, Dazzy Vance, and Jesse Barnes, and Nat Rucker. Well, these are some old cards, or at least some old reprints. Never opened these before. These are totally new to me. But we got a few packs, so let's keep on ripping these bad boys open. See what we get. Joe Jackson. Is that Shoeless Joe? Yes. That is Shoeless Joe Jackson. From Greenville, South Carolina. Died December 5th, 1951. Wow. Enos Slaughter. Max Lanier, Dave Bancroft, Red Rolfe. Oh shit, we got a man down. Harold Baines down. There we go. Back in the game. Bucketfoot Al. Who is Bucketfoot? Al Simmons. Milwaukee native. Bucketfoot. Alright, moving on. Hugh Duffy. Joe Glenn. Paul Parrott. Earl Combs. Tress Speaker. The Gray Eagle Spoke Speaker. Wow. Just read your cards, read your information, and it'll give you a lot of info about all the all-time greats. Hence, great stories. Tress Speaker. I guess these are meant for informational cards. Chuck Dressen, Tex Carlton, Sad Sam Jones, and Red Ames. Alright, let's move on to the next pack. Got a few packs to go. Not a whole bunch, but just a few. Nothing I've ever opened before. Kind of, excited about what these have to offer. And it's a lot of knowledge. A lot of old school knowledge about the old school players. Bob Groom. Checklist. Don Guttridge. Jimmy Ring, 1926. Bill McKinney. Bill Zitzman. Joe Hauser. Jimmy Fox. From Maryland. Died in Florida. Hall of Fame, 1951. A little bit of information to be had about these old school players. Reb Russell. Oops, dropped one. Goose Goslin. I never could wait for spring. Most players can't, especially if they're prospects. 1900. Born October 16th. Passed away May 15th, 1971 in New Jersey. Hall of Fame, 1968. I tell you, these cards here have a lot of information about the old school players. And if you want to be a part of an absolute part of the history of baseball, it seems like these cards here have a lot of history and a lot of knowledge that can be passed on. Chuck Klein, Larry French, Lon Warnicki, Ernie Koob. Never heard of this guy before. Alright, moving on. Got plenty more packs to go. Let's get these bad boys open. Looks like we got another Tress speaker. A trivia card. We're not going to get into the trivia. Born in Hobart, Texas. Died Lake Whitney, Texas. That's a Lone Star man right there. Tress speaker. (1912). Chick Haffey. Dizzy Dean. Cliff Melton. Lamb Van Gilder. Bob Johnson. Ty Cobb. Detroit Tigers, 1909 outfield. Triple Crown winner. Born December 18, 1886. Narrows, Georgia. Died July 17, 1961, Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Georgia boy. So Ty Cobb, he's a hero in my book. Buddy Meyer, Jack Graney, Roger Breshnan, Goose Goslin, Odell Hale, Louisiana, Arkansas, Ivar Swanson, Lon Warnicki, Ernie Koob. Moving on. Got a couple more of these packs. These are pretty interesting. I'm going to have to go back and read the history of these guys, because it seems like there's a lot of history with these. Frankie Frisk. Ripper Collins for the Cardinals. JoJo White. Red Oak, Georgia, 1903. Hank Greenberg. Beverly Hills, California. John Whitehead. Emil Yeed. Tony Piet. Kiddo Davis. Fred Hymack. Al Wingo. Sam Rice. Johnny Bassler. Hans Lobert. Bob Feller. Everybody knows Bob Feller. And there's some of his stats there. Bullet Bob. 3 no-hitters in his great career. Hippo Vaughn. Alright, we got a few more packs. And these cards here has got a lot of information to be had. If there's any guys out there that like the history of baseball or any of the information pertaining to a particular player, these cards right here will have a lot of information. King Carl. Lon Warnecki. Eddie Dyer. Johnny Markham. Henny Zimmerman. Bump Hadley. Bobby Veach. Clark Griffith. Ken Williams. Ivy Andrews. Charlie Berry. George Mogridge. Charles Robertson. Hooks Wiltz. There's a lot of information about these old school baseball players. If you're into vintage players, then these are the cards that you need to have. Not for the monetary value, but for the historical value and their content. There's a lot of information about these guys. I'm new to this. This is the first time I've ever opened these type of cards. There's a lot of information on these guys. So if you're into vintage stuff, this is the cards that you need to have. Not for the value, but for the knowledge. And these are Conlon collection. They're from 1905 to 1942. There's 330 cards in a collection. And yeah, there's tons of knowledge to be had about these old school players. So if you like the old school players, then these are the cards you need to have. Rick Stevenson, Bill Hallahan, Kent Greenfield, George Sisler, Johnny Markham, Henny Zimmerman, Bump Hadley, Bobby Veach, Pants Roland, Pants. That's cool. Pants. 1879 to 1969. Wow. That guy been around. Height NA, weight NA, bats NA, throws NA. Nothing is available. That might be something that you could look into. Oh, he's an umpire. Okay. Pants Roland, umpire, 1923. See, there's so much information to be had out there, guys, in the baseball world that, you know, it just takes a little bit of research, and you can find out whatever you need to find out. Walter Johnson and Christy Mathewson. A lot of information, guys. You know, they say knowledge is power. I mean, you know, look at Eric Jabs. Jabs has He has a ton of knowledge about baseball. He has a ton of knowledge about new stuff. If you guys come up with all the information, all the data, everything needs to be known about old cards, old players, then you can put up a damn good heads-up battle. Oh shit, we got a Lou Gehrig right there. Of information between old school and new school. Lou Gehrig's one of the greatest of all times. I don't care what nobody says. 1903 born, January 19th, died June 2nd, 1941, in New York. Very young guy. But he was a hell of a baseball player. And you can learn a lot from these cards. I've learned a lot from these cards so far. And I've never opened these before. These are definitely something that, if you come across these or even search on the internet to find out the information from these players from the old school, be outstanding. Because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. We sat here with this coronavirus pandemic. We're stuck at home doing whatever it is that we can do. Why not learn about your favorite pastime? If you're looking at this video, you're into baseball, and this is where your pastime comes from. These vintage cards, or these vintage players. Not necessarily these vintage cards. These are not vintage. These are from 91, 92. But it has a lot of information on the vintage players. And, yeah, it always helps to learn about the old school players, the way they were, the way the game was played back in those days. Because, as you know, times change, rules change, people change, attitudes change. So everything that happens in those days are different from the days that we have now. Obviously. So it's always a learning experience. Especially for me. I wasn't around in those times. And I'm pretty sure that none of you guys that are watching these videos today were around. And this is all new to me. I've never opened these cards. But I tell you, I'm definitely going to go back and read every one of these cards just to get a perspective on how the game was played back in those days. And the teams' 20s, 30s, and 40s. And, rules change and people change. So I'm definitely interested in to see how the comparison is from back then to today. I'm definitely interested. And I would definitely recommend that you guys do the same. You're baseball fanatics. Go back and learn the roots of the baseball world. I'm not saying that you don't, but go back and read on it. I mean, we have a lot of time on our hands right now with this lockdown. And, this information is power, obviously. Like I said. But the more you know about the past, the better you know for the future. Or the present, for that matter. A lot of good information on these cards. I'm definitely going to go back and read every one of the back of these cards to get the information that I can. Because I don't think I've ever had an opportunity to learn about the old school players back way before my time. And this is This is definitely a stepping stone for me. There's a lot of information to be had right here. Whether it be on the back of the card or the 92 sporting news publications, I'm sure that they got a lot more information than what's on the back of these cards. So, to be a complete, absolute old school collector, I would go back and not necessarily study every one, but look and see who the recognizable players are and their stats and how they lived, where they played, where they passed, and everything. It just gives you a better perspective on the whole as a sport. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm talking out of my head, but I like the old stuff. I like Rogers Hornsby for one. There's a lot of information on the back of that card. 1896, Winters, Texas, born, died 1963 in Chicago, Hall of Fame 1942. A lot of information to be had there, guys. A lot of information. I love information, because the more information that you have, the more ammo that you have when you come to a situation or that you have an argument with somebody that's not necessarily on the same page, but they're arguing with you about it. It's always have the good information, the positive information. Look, we got Ty Cobb there. Narrows, Georgia, December 18th. Died July 17th, 1961, in Atlanta, Georgia. See, I never knew that. Never knew that about Ty Cobb. Hall of Fame, 1936. In 1909, 9 home runs, 107 RBIs. That's just a lot of information that needs to be had by the younger generation that doesn't know, including myself. I'm not well versed on these vintage players, and I would definitely love to be. Goose Goslin, Odell Hale, Larry French. There's a lot of information to be had. And I think these cards were not necessarily meant to be collectible, but I think they were meant to be for educational or informational purposes. That's why I think these were circulated. Because they're not worth anything. They're not worth any money. But the information that's contained within are worth more than the cards will ever be, I think. And that's just my opinion. There's a lot of information to be had here. A lot of information. And if you ever have any questions about any of the old school players or any of the stats or where they were from or who they played for in their career, it seems like these cards have a lot of information. So I recommend that you guys go check these out. And they're the sporting news. And I'm sure there's other publications that has information about the older players. But this is the first time for me opening this type of cards. And I'm pretty excited about it, because I can go back and look at a lot of the stats, where they were from, where they played, who they played for, when their Hall of Fame years were, a lot of things. I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm gonna learn a lot of things in the next couple of days, and I would recommend that you do the same. But anyway, we got finished with all these cards, all these packs. I'm gonna cut this video off, get it uploaded, and get any of you guys' information. If you have any recommendations or anything to make this channel better, I'm all for it. I'm down for constructive criticism. All for it. I want to make this channel the best that we can make it, because I'm here for you guys. I'm not here for me. I'm here for the entertainment. I'm here for you guys' entertainment. And if I can make it better for y'all, then it's better for me. So, with that being said, if you haven't subscribed, go hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and the notification. And there are more videos to come, as well as giveaways. So, alright guys, good night, and we'll check back with you on the next video. Thanks fellas for watching.